You lead us this evening.
Mr. Gallons.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gentlemen, we got one addition to the agenda tonight, item 2A. It's a letter of commitment regarding Cumberland Chase. So is there a motion to make that item 2A?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll take that second. All right, is there a motion to approve minutes from the last public business meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving into our consent agenda tonight. Item number 1 is agreement with Battery Resources. Commissioners, in December, you approved a travel request for Administrator Butler and myself to travel to Worcester, Massachusetts, and I'm happy to say that we were successful, and we've been working on that with Ivan Lanier the past couple months. Ivan's brought a few firms to Allegany County as part of a business attraction agreement the county's entered into with Greenwill to do external relations, and we were in Worcester, Massachusetts to see this lithium battery recycling facility. So what they do is any battery that has a lithium ion battery basically needs to be either recycled or disposed of. And it's becoming a huge supply chain problem when it comes to how they dispose of this and doing it in a way that's environmentally friendly. So this company has the ability to break that down, separate some of the metal alloys, and then sell it back to the suppliers. As some of you may know, we were very close to having a different battery recycler locate here last year. That one didn't pan out. So with this one, we're kind of going down the same track, but what this agreement would do is basically to measure the market availability of these batteries. So whether the market would support that here, transportation costs and all that kind of stuff, and then a community college program with ACM to actually do the operations and be able to operate the technology. So tonight we'd be approving a contract to get them to complete the market analysis, and then they would do their due diligence, and should that be positive, then they begin the process of expanding into Allegany County.
Fantastic.
Great. So is there a motion to approve the agreement?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I should add, gentlemen, their current facility has about 12 jobs is what they're kind of looking at, but very high level, PhD level people that work there, MIT graduates, and it's a really cool concept, and they want to expand into the Mid-Atlantic, and Allegany County seemed to make sense for them.
Well, it's emerging, growing. It's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger, don't you think, sir? Yeah,
absolutely. And so right now, Apple and Samsung and some of the huge companies are having issues sourcing the components of the batteries. So when all of that happens and you see the stuff with coronavirus or in Africa, where market conditions change, that can affect their whole supply chain. So to be able to recycle it, then you don't have to go into these places where working conditions and human rights issues aren't the best, and it can be disrupted. So being part of that solution is really cool. So stay tuned on that, and they'll be providing us regular updates every 3 months for the next year on this project.
good.
All right. Item number 2A is a letter of commitment regarding Cumberland Chase. Administrator Butler, if you'd like to read that in or
Sure.
speak on it a little bit.
No, I'd be honored to. Commissioners, good evening. What is item number 2A is the approval of a letter of commitment, and if you wouldn't mind, let me read it into the record. We, the undersigned members of the Board of County Commissioners of Allegany County, would like to express our unqualified support for your proposed development at the property formerly called Cumberland Chase. As you know, during our January 16th, 2020 meeting, the commissioners unanimously took action to study the required infrastructure improvements needed to facilitate the development of a nursing home, assisted living, senior housing, and other ancillary and residential uses you have contemplated. Specifically, the motion read, Board of County Commissioners, recognizing the county's responsibility for water and sewer service, authorize the study of the costs for adequate delivery of these services to the county's property located at Cumberland Chase. Since then, you, and by you I mean Mr. Zimbauwer, Metz, and Raines, you and your consultants have been in a number of meetings with county staff. These meetings underscore your commitment and the county's commitment to moving the first phase of this project in an expeditious manner. To that end, by vote taken during our February 27th, 2020 regular business meeting, we are writing to commit to you the necessary funds to cover the infrastructure upgrades, i.e. the water, sewer, and entrance to ease the development and construction of the subject property. Allegany County government views this and all projects that stand to positively impact our community as a partnership. As such, we look forward to working with you and our dedicated county staff to see this worthwhile project to fruition. Should you have any questions or comments, please do not hesitate to contact us. Sincerely, the Board of County Commissioners.
Great. Commissioners, any discussion?
I'd like to make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Commissioners, for the record, we have Mr. Metz here as well as Mr. Crossland in the audience.
Great. Thank you, guys. Okay. All right, gentlemen, item number 2 is Resolution 20-3. It's a Second Amendment sanctuary in Allegany County, Maryland. Gentlemen, there's been talk of this, and the county was sent a petition with 2,500 signatures to look into this. I know Garrett County and Washington County are also looking into this. So before we get into this, I know Sheriff Craig Robertson's here tonight, and I'd like to invite him to come up and say a few words on this.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Some words of wisdom, I take it. Very short, very short. As I have Commissioners, thanks for allowing me to be here tonight. Just over the course of my 40 years in law enforcement, I've seen many changes in the law, some good, some bad. It seems the past several years, however, that these changes have now been directed at our law-abiding citizens. The attack against citizens' right to bear arms, our Second Amendment, is not the way to curb the problems that we faced in the world today. Instead of more restrictive gun bills to our gun owners, we need to focus on common sense legislation that increases mental health services and keeps guns out of the hands of criminals. The old saying, criminals don't follow the letter of the law, and why should we punish those who do? So as Sheriff of Allegany County, I do support the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution, and I appreciate you guys taking time to look over this and actually make this decision. It's a strange world that we live in today. I spent 9 hours yesterday in Annapolis on bills to make Maryland a sanctuary state for immigration. And, you know, to sit back there and listen to some of the testimony that was given from people there, I just, honestly, it was all I could stand, really. Even made a phone call to Mr. Butler and said, how could you stand doing this before? Because I'm telling you, it's a whole animal down there. I just don't understand the philosophy. And again, this is just something that is being targeted more and more against our citizens, good citizens, law-abiding citizens, and it's not fair. We need to go after the criminals and not those. So I appreciate the time to be here, though.
Great.
Thank you, Sheriff.
And we do have 2 folks signed up to speak on this, Mr. Danny Williams and Jerry Zimbauwer. If you all want to come up now, that'd be great.
Good evening, gentlemen. I'm here in support of this. kind of proud of you guys for this. We have, Barrelville Outdoor Club has 800 members. Big Savage has 300. Piney Mountain has 1,300. Jerry is the president of the Allegheny Garrick Sportsman Association. There we're looking at 4,000 or 5,000 people. After talking to Creed last week and hearing that this may become about, I just wanted to be here on behalf of my end of it, to say thank you. You have all our support in the world. And if this is what they want to do east of Frederick, more power to them. But we're in almost West Virginia. We're west of Sidling. And the sportsmen up here appreciate what you guys are doing. Jerry?
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. Jerry Zimbauwer. I appreciate the efforts you guys are putting into this. The hunters and sports shooters of Allegany and Garrett County, specifically since we're in Allegany, really appreciate the effort that you guys are doing. I was in Annapolis yesterday testifying on bills, on hunting bills, and like the sheriff said, it's a complete different world down there to what we live in. And at the present time, 20 out of the 23 counties are in the process of doing the same thing we're doing. 3 counties have already passed this, Carroll being one of them. And Allegheny County Garrett Sportsman Association, we're also a member of the Western Maryland Sportsmen's Coalition, which is the 5 western counties of Western Maryland. And we have about 26,000 hunters and voters with their families in this organization. So when we go to Annapolis on the hunting bills, we get a lot of respect from the Wildlife Heritage Department and from a lot of the legislators that are down there. We get a lot of things passed. So once again, I want to thank you for the effort that you guys are putting into this. Thank you very much.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Taylor.
Gentlemen, I didn't sign up to speak on this issue, but I can't resist. I want to also thank you for considering such an important issue which concerns our United States Constitution, and I gratefully thank our sheriff for everything that he does for our county on this issue also. It's more than just the right to bear arms. It's defending our historic and sacred United States Constitution, and that is something that my family holds very, very dear, and many Americans in our country do, and the people of Allegheny County do, and I thank you very much.
Great. Gentlemen, discussion.
Can't wait, sir. As a gun owner myself, I want to keep as many of my weapons as I can. The state is really exercising a far overreaching authority here right now because they're punishing everybody they can with a pretty broad spectrum, and I feel that they're trying to trample our constitutional rights every day. So with that, I'd like to make a motion.
Absolutely.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. And I'll read this into the record. It reads, whereas the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The members of the Board of County Commissioners of Allegheny County, as is the case for all elected officials in the state of Maryland, must be sworn to protect the Constitution of the United States and the laws thereof. The Board of County Commissioners of Allegheny County wishes to express their concern about the passage of any bill containing language that could be interpreted as infringing the Second Amendment rights of citizens of Allegheny County to keep and bear arms. The Board of County Commissioners wishes to express its intent to stand as a sanctuary county for the Second Amendment rights and to oppose within the limits of the Constitution of the United States any and all efforts to unconstitutionally restrict such rights and to use such legal means as disposal to protect the rights of citizens to keep and bear arms. And that's on this 27th day of February, 2020. Motion's passed.
Thank you, guys.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay. Gentlemen, that concludes the action agenda. On to the consent agenda. Mr. Butler.
Commissioners, again, good evening. Item number 3 are various plans required for the community development block grants. Item number 4 is the relocation assistance plan for Garden City Mobile Home Park. Item number 5 is a right of entry agreement with Manicorp LLC. Item number 6 is a Columbia Gas of Maryland easement for a pipeline extension. And finally, item number 7 is the Allegheny County Tourism Destination Guide, authorizing the contract to print said guides.
Gentlemen, any discussion?
No, sir.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we do have a few people signed up to speak tonight. The first is Mr. Edward Taylor.
Commissioners, for the record, I'm here as president of the Cumberland Historic Cemetery Organization, but I wanted to give you a few comments beforehand. I've spoke to each of the 3 of you individually some weeks ago, and I'm just kind of here to go over and sum that up publicly. This year, or last year, Allegheny County gave the Cumberland Historic Cemetery Organization $5,500. They were in 2 different issues. We all understand what that was. And we're very grateful we put it to use. Commissioner Shade, he saw where the money went. And this year, we're asking for 500 less. And I understand, and everyone should understand, the grave economic situation that the county is in, mainly with the loss of Verso Paper Mill, which we haven't really felt the full effects of that. That's still in the process of trickling down. And over the years, in my entire lifetime, we have lost a lot. The economy of our country is doing better, but that hasn't quite reached Allegheny County yet. We do appreciate everything you're all doing, for example, with the battery company and so forth. These are all positives. But in my opinion, we're really still in the negative. It isn't anything that our mayor and council or county commissioners or any current people in political offices have contributed to, even past county commissioners, and I'm talking several decades back. This has been Cumberland isn't unique to this situation. I have a brother that lives in Springfield, Vermont. They're even worse off than we are. This started back in the late 60s, early 70s, when the industrial portion of our country started to leave this country for China and all these other foreign countries, third world countries. And over the past 50 years, it has really affected middle America and small to medium-sized counties such as ours. And we clearly understand the economic situation here. What I am asking publicly for the commissioners to do, whether it be hotel motel tax or general fund or wherever the tax money is going to come from for nonprofits that are non-governmental groups, such as the one I'm president of, that you cap off these organizations at no more than $5,000. We're thrilled at that amount. Other groups may not, but that's too bad, because the last thing I think anybody in this room or in this county wants or can afford or can even take is a property tax increase. And I know that's been talked about. That will be the final death nail in Allegheny County. I'm president of a 37-year historical institution, which is a pillar of Allegheny County tourism, and we're going to continue to be. And we're not going to ask for a penny more than the $5,000. As I said, we've even cut $500 off from what we received last year. And we're able to make several projects out of that money. And, but I'm asking that you put a cap on all non-governmental or nonprofit organizations, $5,000 and that's it, So we have produced a letter from our current board of directors to the commissioners. I guess I need to pose a question. Are we going to qualify to get this out of general fund or hotel motel? Because we haven't heard anything from the county, I guess is what I'm trying to say. How do you all plan to work us in this loop or plan?
Well, I think it'd be best to talk to Director Bennett maybe after the meeting, and we'll get those details worked out.
Okay, well, I have a letter. It doesn't really state hotel, motel or anything, but it's just to the county, and I'll let you all determine what fund you take that out.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ed.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Signed up next, we have Mr. George Lehman.
was here a while back, and I appreciate you giving me the time to speak again today. And I'm here to defend my name, basically. I received these letters, which is the first thing I've received. I've gotten nothing from Mr. Schwager telling me anything about the problem. I was completely in the dark. He said the first complaint I made was about a septic tank, septic system. Not so. I did not say anything about a septic system. All I said was there was a pipe running onto my property, and I said it could possibly be coming from the septic tank. That's all I said, nothing more. But he's claiming that that's what I said. Then he says later on, in a short period of time, without going through all this, that I again called and complained about a pipe and a septic system. And I told him, I said, you don't listen.
Who's saying you said this?
Sir?
Who are you?
Who are the letters from?
Who are the letters from?
They're from Mr. Schwager to Mr. Brody.
Jim Swager.
Yeah.
With the health department?
Okay.
Anyhow, he says, I called a second time complaining. And like I told him, I said, what you're saying is not right. I didn't say anything about a septic system. I talked about a pipe that's coming onto my property and it's discharging whatever. And I said, I know it's not clear water. And I said, I'd like to find out what it is and what can be done about it. And he didn't, but his secretary told me that they don't do water testing, that if I needed that, I would have to go to a private concern, which I did. I went out to Culligan, and they checked it out. I've got their notes here about the hardness and iron and all that stuff. And they said there is something in it for sure, but to find out what it is, it's going to cost you $200 to $300. And I said, nah, I'm not spending money to try to find that out. I said, I just know that it's, you could smell it. But the septic system, when I said to him it could be coming from it, at that time, they were having a problem, but I didn't know that. I couldn't see it from where I am on my land. And I was told by these people that if I stepped a foot on their land, that they'd sue me within the extent of the law. So I had no clue. But I know the pipe was coming down alongside there, and it was discharging something other than water. At any rate, he went on with a letter, and without me going through all this, he made statements like their driveway had never been disturbed. The pipe is old pipe. It ain't nothing new that's just been put in. Well, that pipe laid alongside the transformer there. My boy lived there, and he transferred to, I can't remember the name of the prison. But at any rate, he transferred there that he could make rank, and he sold his house. That pipe laid there for 17 years along that transformer. And now it's in the ground there. And that's why it looks old, because it laid there 17 years. And, but he claims that there was no disturbance on the driveway or anything else. But in the summer, actually when the real estate people came, they had no idea where the markers were. And I put ribbon up and marked everything for them. And there was no pipe at that time there, and the pipes were laying over at the transformer. Later on, when they moved in, the people, I didn't want them feeling like they were in a prison. I took the ribbon wire down, which now that I never would have, but I did. I took it down. And when I took it down, there was no pipe there. I've lived there 25 years, and I know what was there and what wasn't there. Anyhow, between that time to a year later, she was complaining about the markers and where they were. And I said, I'll show you. And I showed her each one of the places. Wasn't satisfied. She wanted it surveyed. I said, well, you're going to have to do that, and I'm not doing it. But at any rate, Mr. Schwager come out. I guess I'm pronouncing his name right. He come out and looked at it. He made a statement that it looked like, without me getting into this thing, trying to find everything, that it was just like a scam job, you couldn't really tell who it belonged to. Well, if Mr. Swager would have taken the time to walk down to the corners, he'd see the markers, and I have pictures of them. And it was done by specs. They were right there, plain and clear, but he never bothered to look at it, but he kept saying in here, assume. And we know what that word does.
Mr. Lehman, if we could, appreciate your comments. We do try to limit public comments to 5 minutes, so if you're at that point now, if you could let us know what it is that you need and conclude.
I want something done. I got a letter here from Mr. Chris Gay. It says right on the top of his letter that she agreed to take care of this situation. That's why there was no papers or nothing sent. And to this date, it is still going on. It started back in 6/21/19, and it's still going on. And it's not getting any better. And actually, it's getting worse. She's starting to do things that's trespassing, tearing things out. Somebody come in there and I'm going to get into that. But at any rate, it's got out of hand. And I sought legal advice, and I guess that's the route I'm going to have to go. But that's it, basically. I just wanted to clear my name. I did not say these things that he's saying I said. And
Sir, when was the letter from Chris Gay? When was that dated, Mr. Lehman? Even if it's just a ballpark, we can check on it.
February the 14th, 2020.
Thank you.
And he has a note right here. It says that she says, he said, met with property owner. She will line the footer drain to 10 feet away from the property line. Never been done. None of it's been done since back in June. Still the same. So I came here because, well, I went to health department, planning and zoning. I came here, so I guess the next step is I got a lawyer.
Well,
Yeah.
Mr. Lehman, what we'll do, we'll follow up with Chris Gay. It sounds like that letter was, I guess, what, about 10 days ago?
Recent, right.
Week and a half ago?
Yeah, I just received it from him.
Okay. I'll follow up with him, and if you want to stick around after the meeting, I'll make sure I have contact information so we can have him follow up with you.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure,
Thank
do
you.
that. Thank you. All right, up next, Ms. Darlene Park.
Good evening, gentlemen. I'm Kate Arlene Park. I live in Harwood Drive, Frostburg, Maryland. It's the Vail Summit area. In October 2019, the Board of Zoning Appeal granted a wind turbine project for 37.3 megawatts to the Dance Mountain Wind Force. The project consisted of 3 turbines at 426 feet tall and at 1.7 megawatts. Another 14 turbines were 496 feet tall at 2.3 megawatts. The original, this project was the Public Service Commission case number 9164 and was originally granted the Certificate for Public Convenience and Necessity, a CPCN, on March 2009. However, this CPCN was voluntarily relinquished by Dance Mountain in June 2016 to pursue another CPCN, and that is case number 9413. This case 9413, the wind turbine projects were at the same location with the same 17 wind turbines. However, the project was an additional 22.2 megawatts for a 59.5 megawatt project. All turbines would have been 580 feet tall with a 3.5 megawatt generator on each wind turbine. This is 51 feet taller than the tallest building in Maryland that was wanted to put on Dance Mountain Wind Force property that they had leased. This certificate was denied by Chief Public Utility Law Judge in January 2017 because construction, quote, of the wind turbine project does not justify or offset subjecting local communities to adverse impacts that will result from the project construction and operation. And that's on page 124 of her opinion. Commissioners, are you aware of the megawatts that Dance Mountain wants for this present application? Do you know how many megawatts the project has?
No.
Well, Dance Mountain has applied for a 32.7 additional megawatts that was approved by the Board of Zoning Appeal. They have applied for 70 megawatts. This megawatt is even 10.5 megawatts more than what was added in 2016 in their application. The impact here is monumental. If in 2017, Judge Romine considered 580 feet tall and 3.5 megawatts was astronomical and adverse impact to the communities, asking for 10.5 additional megawatts means either one thing: the new megawatts for each turbine that they're requesting of this date would be 4.11 megawatts on each wind turbine. And because of the strength and the weight of that megawatt, but they have to put in the generators, that means the turbines will become taller. It appears you are not up to date with the scope of this project. Because of the number of turbines remain the same, each turbine will have the 4.11 megawatts and be much taller than 850. The entire scope of this project must stay in what was approved by the 2019, and that is 37.3 megawatts. What is being proposed is atrocity to the communities adjacent. You put in turbines this height, this megawatts, or even more turbines to take up 70 megawatts, you're going to lose the growth of this western part of the county. I look at the Chase project that Jeff Metz and his partners have presented. That is a plus for the county. That is a mega project that will last 50 years plus. Wind turbines only have a life of 18 to 20 years. And the biggest reason they have to be decommissioned is because the wind turbines, they can't get parts for them anymore, and their blades deteriorate.
Ms. Park, as I had mentioned to Mr. Lehman, we do limit public comment to 5 minutes, so if you could conclude your...
I'm almost finished.
Thank you.
The county allows 5 extra minutes if you request. Would you like to have 5 minutes?
I don't need 5 minutes, I just need a closer.
Thank you, Mr. Wilmot, for...
Thank you, Mr. Wilmot. I appreciate your defense. But gentlemen, you're supporting, and you seem more beholden to Dance Mountain Wind Force than the residents that live in the communities in the future growth of Allegheny County. The Bel Air and Harwood and Midland area, it is all targeted as growth communities. I need you to back off, and I think you should rescind your letter of support to this project, being that they're not staying within the scope. You do not have the right to ruin my life, my quality of life and health, and to reduce my home so it will be either both unlivable and unsellable. Please consider what you're doing and put us, the residents in the communities, at the top of the list and not Dance Mountain Wind Force. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Okay. Up next, Mr. Kenneth Wilmot.
Excuse me. I'm Kenneth Walmart. I live at 513 Fort Avenue, Cumberland, Maryland. At age 84, I've seen it all, did it all, and watched the wilderness around me be desecrated and commercialized. What is it that we don't understand about climate change? Our trees are what gives us life. Without trees producing oxygen, the human race doesn't have much more of a chance. Now then, we want to cut down 40 acres out at Rocky Gap. What a disgrace. Another 400 acres, Chevy Chase. Another disgrace. Now we want to put turbines on top of the mountains. How many acres of trees are they going to cut down? Forget it. Tell them to go someplace else. Do you realize the blades on these things are only good for 10 years? So them blades up there are going to have to be replaced twice. Now then, there was on Nova this past week on TV. It showed the problem with these blades. After 10 years, what do you do with them? Out in Arizona, they got them stacked up. What do you think they're doing with them? They're burying them. They've got no solution for disposal. These, you get what I'm talking about? Why put something up that you can't get rid of later? It's like a nuclear reactor. Once you shut it down, it's still there, and it's still red hot. But anyway, also what they forget is Mother Nature. All the birds and that fly, they go over the top of the mountains. And if you get the report, these windmills kill a lot of birds. I don't mean just little ones, they kill them all. When that thing's turned, it creates a vortex, just like an airplane flying through the air. You get sucked into it, you're lost. So anyway, I think we need to stop cutting down our trees. Take that water park and put it on Balmer Street. Let them slide from the top of McCaig's Hill down to Balmer Street. Either that or tear down Balmer Street both sides and put in a quarter-mile drag strip. They'll suck in more money. Anyway, give it some thought. I got more miles behind me than I have in front of me. And I'll probably never see the climate change, because it's going to take a couple 1,000 years for trees to grow back. We've only got 10% of the trees that originally were here when they landed on Plymouth Rock. So our trees only work 2.5, 3 months a year. So it behooves everybody. Take in consideration, should I cut a tree down or shouldn't I? I grew up right at what is now Constitution Park, and all that up against Ives Mountain, there was nothing there. I know every square inch of it, all the way down to Martin's Mountain and back. But we need to preserve our nature. With people coming are lucky. We're surrounded by trees. I'd hate to live in Baltimore where there aren't no trees. Anyway, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Wilmot.
I've been coming here for 10 years. I seen it all, did it all, and I've watched things. It's not right. Anyway, the poor trees, they can't defend themselves. Everybody looks at them with a dollar sign on them. That's not good. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Mr. Walmart.
Okay. Attorney Beeman.
Commissioners, there's been some discussion about the Second Amendment sanctuary bills and whether there's actually any point to them or whether they're just grandstanding. It's a great opportunity for us to affirm and for your leadership to affirm that the county will not be spending public dollars that come from the county coffers on anything that's going to infringe on our Second Amendment rights. So appreciate you taking that leadership and moving forward with that.
Absolutely. And I think it's also important to note that, you know, this board supports all the Constitution, all the amendments to the Constitution, but the Second Amendment in particular seems to be the one that's under fire. And that's the rationale behind this, and that's why it's spreading across the country. And the many municipalities and counties are doing the same thing we are. Mr. Butler.
Commissioners, I just want to echo Mr. Beeman's congratulations and thanks for particularly for the Cumberland Chase letter of commitment. Gentlemen, you clearly told us, the staff, to move forward and to move forward aggressively and quickly, and that's exactly what we're looking to do. So thank you very much for your leadership. As a number of citizens had mentioned tonight, that is, there have been the words monumental. There have been, other words signifying those projects, and so, Commissioners, I want to thank you for your leadership.
Great. Brandon, thank you for your involvement, and Commissioner Brody, your long-time involvement in this project.
Thank you for your support, sir.
Yeah, very good. Commissioner Caparelli.
Nothing to add tonight.
Commissioner Brody.
Sir, I'm good, too.
Well, I wish I could make it 3 for 3. Our lithium battery recycler, stay tuned on that, because that is something that's going to be really good for Allegheny County. 21st century technology that they want to locate here. So we're going to be working with them and building that relationship through the training piece with ACM and the actual facility piece as well. Okay, with that, our next public business meeting will be in 2 weeks, Thursday, March 12th, 5 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well said.
Very good. Go ahead, Dave, and that way we'll keep it going right now.